It's the Holiday Wine Spectacular here on PeteThePlanner.tv. Glad to welcome back our wine expert for the show, sommelier, second level sommelier.
Certified, baby.
Certified sommelier. Marc Lefay. Of course, as you know, Marc Lefay is French for Marc the Fay.
That's correct.
Nice snowman sweater.
Thank you.
It's inappropriate. Anatomically correct snowman sweater. Do a little holiday wine tasting as we wrap up 2017. It's been a while since you've been on the show. I haven't invited you here.
You've been busy, and I haven't been interested.
Yep. Good. How's your sausage?
It's always good.
You make some of the most delicious meats that I know. You've got some sausages. You got some bacon.
Yeah, I got some pâtés.
Some pâtés. You've been... you said it the other day you went deer hunting, which you said you took some venison.
Oh, yeah.
You took it from the earth.
That's right. Correct. Yeah, we did our part to cull the
But I
herd.
did learn you can't commercially distribute deer that you kill.
Correct.
You have to like buy it from a farm and then they just like kill it with like boredom. Like how's that work?
Well, so, I mean, if it's raised on a farm, then it's slaughtered the way that most livestock would be slaughtered.
The S word is intense. Nicole, like I'm well aware the animals are dead, but when you say slaughter, doesn't that seem real?
It just takes it to a whole nother
It
level,
really
doesn't
does.
it?
It's really graphic. I'm like, there is a machete involved.
Or a 22.
Look, I'm not good at
Did you ever
math.
see No Country for Old Men?
I did with that little,
Yeah.
ow, I just scratched myself. We haven't even started drinking yet. What do we have here today? I went cheapo badipo, and you brought some good stuff. Man, I am not embarrassed by this.
You shouldn't be. Those are both, we're going to find out.
Okay, so I'm going to go through what mine are, and then we'll go through what yours are, and then we'll decide in what order that we can consume them. Mark is a certified sommelier. He can tell us about these wines. I enjoy wine. I haven't drank as much wine recently because I've been getting physically fit, and so I've cut out the midweek drinking,
That's good.
which means when if I have a cocktail or something on the weekend, it really hurts more than it used to, which is good and sad.
Well, hopefully you can relearn your limits.
I don't know. That seems official. Is that a thing with on the test? The sommelier test, relearn your limits?
No, I think it's just an official thing for being human.
Okay. I've got the Flaco Tempranillo, the 2014. It's just a little Spanish ditty. Pretty cheap. Pretty cheap.
Kind of like the quarterback.
Yes. I don't know what that means. What's that mean?
the quarterback. Who did he
Flaco.
play? Yeah,
Joe Flacco. That's the reference. This is not an elite wine.
Okay.
Okay. Some people will laugh at that. Great wine for sangria, if you want to do that whole thing. I've also got, and I got this at a charity auction. I didn't bid on it. It's one of those wine polls where you give a couple bucks and you get to pull a bottle of wine and see what you got. The Layer Cake Sea of Stones. Nicole, can you look this up? The Layer Cake Sea of Stones 2015. It's from Mendoza, which it means Argentina. And I believe it's probably mostly Malbec. I'm just curious of how much the Layer Cake 2015 Sea of Stones would cost a brother. Nicole, do you know yet?
Depending on where you get it from,
Well, wait.
it'll cost you between $11.99 and $13.99.
So it's much more expensive than the Joe Flacco. What did you bring, the Faye?
Well, I brought a 2013 Kistler.
Ooh,
Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir.
that's going to be delicious.
And I
I
brought
see
it-
it's mostly gone.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't bad.
It took you a while to figure that out.
It did.
I mean, if you're viewing this, which how could you not be? Because you're watching it and you heard that. There's not a lot left. But we're going to enjoy it all the same. Not complaining. It's a much better bottle of wine than what I brought. And then the second bottle you brought
I just
is
thought-
inappropriate.
I thought I'd pamper you today.
Man,
We're gonna have a 2001 Spring Mountain. Is this the regular one? Okay, good. I didn't bring the extra nice one.
oh, it's nice enough. That's going to be delicious. Cab.
It's cab, 100% cab. I'm sorry, 80% cab, 15% Merlot.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Our good friend, mutual friend of the show, Paul Ashley, is going to be here Friday doing a show,
Yeah.
and he won't have any of this wine.
Well, he's got some of this 01 cab in his basement.
Never offered it to me. Okay, where do you want to start? You're the sommelier, and I'm the sommelier. Where do you want to go?
I mean, I would say let's start with the Kistler.
Okay, let's start with the Kistler. So Pinot Noir, Sonoma Coast, as opposed to the other New World Pinots you're going to find in Oregon and Central Coast, sort of Santa Rita Hills area in California. You like the Sonoma Pinots? Is that your thing? Isn't it flowers, a Sonoma Pinot?
I do. Well, I mean, you can get it a lot of different variation with your Pinots. So one of the things we noticed when we were in the Willamette Valley is that you can have a Pinot that's got lots of earth on it.
Yeah.
To me, it always comes through, almost as like a burnt coffee.
Yeah.
But then you can also get something that's just super fruit forward and doesn't have a lot of that earth that shows. I found the same thing to be the case with Sonoma Coast. So, for instance, the Whetstone.
Whetstone?
Stone.
Yeah.
Bella Vigna Pinot Noir. I think it's also a Sonoma Coast. It's super dirty. Whereas this one's got a little bit of earth, but it's also got a lot of really good red fruit and some spice.
I like earth. I like Santa Rita Hills in the Santa Barbara area because it's a lot of forest floor to me. Like it's got a little bit of funk to it, not all the way. This is not super funky. A little bit of earth, not a ton.
Not a ton.
It's sort of like a nice blend between what you think of as a California Pinot and an Oregon Pinot. You know. Mm-hmm. I like it.
I like it too. I liked it a lot last night.
Where would you drink this with? I mean, typically Pinot. I mean, you can enjoy with salmon or anything really. It's good with a steak. Sometimes.
Yeah, Pinot's. I don't know. Pinot goes great with everything, but fish for sure. You can go with white fish with this. Chicken. Honestly, this almost reminds me of like a Grand Cru or a Cru Beaujolais.
Okay. Like a Morgon.
Yeah, or Fleury or Brouilly.
So Pinot is the grape primarily that you find in Burgundy, France, which is one of the most famous wine growing regions in the world, if not the most famous. Bordeaux may be the other.
Sure.
But the most expensive wine generally comes from Burgundy, right?
The most expensive wine in the world comes from Burgundy. Yeah.
Romanée Conti.
Yeah. DRC.
Yeah. There's a great book if you like reading. Do you like reading? We've had this conversation we're about to have 5 times.
Probably.
Shadows in the Vineyards. Great book by Maximilian Potter about Romanée Conti, and it was a true story about people sabotaging the vines and the whole story of how that happened. Does that sound interesting, Nicole, or does that sound like an old guy who's just drinking wine and telling it something he knows?
Do I have to answer?
So, Mark, notice we started Nicole with the Tempranillo.
We did, yeah.
Nicole, what we're drinking now, are you done yet?
No, I'm not.
Okay, when you're done, you can come get the Kistler.
Okay.
And it is. It's a Kistler. So, yeah, I like this. What's your main? What are you mainly drinking today? What grapes are you into right now?
You know what? I've been on a pretty heavy white wine
White wine.
kick this year. It's been kind of crazy.
Viogniers or Chardonnays? What are you doing?
You know what? I've been hammering a lot of Riesling, Pinot Gris, Chardonnay, Gruner Veltliner.
Yeah, I just like saying that one.
Torrontés.
Torrontés is rather obscure.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
I really like it. It's also from Argentina.
we're a Viognier family if we're gonna do the white.
Okay.
Do some Chardonnay. Do some
Where do you like your Viognier from?
all sauce. There's some decent Central Coast Viognier, but I like old world stuff. You know, I don't know.
Dariush's got a nice Viognier.
I don't know. I like champagne too. If we're being honest, I would drink a lot more sparkling.
We definitely drank a lot of sparkling this year.
We drank a lot of sparkling this year. I don't know. It was good, and it's not because we're just celebrating stuff. It's just sometimes if friends come over, we went to dinner with some friends the other night. It's just like let's just start off with some sparkling. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, we definitely done a lot of that.
The drier the better for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't like. I like. What would it be? It would be. What's the? There's a scale in champagne. You should know this.
Yeah.
Something to like demi-sec, and then the sweetest is like something. You should know this. You're a sommelier.
So I should. But I took that test a little while ago, and since then I've not really been hammering it, the knowledge and trying to maintain.
Let me tell you this. I will tell you.
And I don't typically go past brut. So
Yeah. Brut is dry.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, it gets sweet, and it's just like I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Keep it. What do you give this? What's the scale? We're going Peters today, right? 5 Peters?
I think this is a good solid 4 to a 4.2 Peter. If we're going
Sounds
fractional.
messy. We don't never go fractional Peters.
Then if we're going full Peters,
Yeah.
4 of them.
4-2. This we got to maybe rethink the Peters scale in the light of sort of culturally what's going on in the workplace.
Oh, I never went that way with it.
Well, this just got weird.
I'm out of wine.
I like, I've often have some more. I didn't eat much today, and I walked to work because I knew we were doing this, and it seemed like the responsible thing to do. In fact, I've eaten pretty much nothing today, so this is going to be a bad idea. This is good. I really like this.
Yeah, it's really easy to
Price
drink a
point
bottle.
on that?
This one's going to be somewhere between $50 and $80, depending on if you're buying online or buying in your local shop.
Local shop would probably have you around $79.99, right?
Possibly.
Yeah. Buying online, you're going to get some deals. That is a delicious bottle.
It's a delicious bottle.
What is it, a 13, 12?
2013.
Yeah.
This is their Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir.
Single vineyard or?
You know, I believe they actually used to be single vineyards on this particular Pinot. And they used to call it, I think, the Kistler Vineyard.
Yeah.
I'm not super hip to Kistler history, but then they stopped calling it by the vineyard and just started calling this their Sonoma Coast. So I'm guessing it's not single vineyard.
Kind of wishing I would have brought a good bottle now. I'm feeling a little guilty. I feel like I owe you a good bottle of
Do you
wine.
have any good bottles laying around the office?
No, we have good bourbon.
I gotta get home. Let's soldier on down the road. What do you say?
Sure. Nicole, you want a little Kistler or no? You still at work? I gave you a pretty hefty pour.
Yeah, I'll come grab some.
It's tasty.
Just know you get the right camera shot because you're going to walk into the camera shot. It could be super weird. So you might have to like cheat to the camera. Super strange. Okay. Where do you want to go next?
Let's do the Malbec. Or excuse me, the Tempranillo.
Okay. It's Tempranillo, the Joe Flacco. The color of a... Oh, here's Nicole, the Kistler. Oh, that camera's the one you're going to? Hello. Everyone say hi to Nicole.
Hi, everyone.
There you go. All right. Wonderful. Okay. Enjoy. And let us know what you think of that. Here's the Joe Flacco. It's a Ravens color. No, it's not. It really isn't. This is going to be quite a discrepancy. I've been using the wrong words today. This is going to be a departure, I should say, from what we just drank.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Man, you're regretting this.
I'm getting some vitamin B12 on the nose.
Totally. This smells like Flintstone chewables.
Yeah,
What is that?
it smells like vitamin B12. It's the vitamin in the cabinet you don't want to. You don't.
It's like the talc. It's like what's Centrum?
Yeah, it's just.
Once a days.
It's baked.
The wine's not cooked though.
It's baked fruit.
Oh boy, this is not a good sign. Man, we are really yo-yoing the quality here. Nicole, what do you think of that Kistler?
This is really nice.
It's super nice.
I totally understand what you mean, how it could get funky, but it doesn't. It's really nice.
Are you angry at me?
No, but this is a good wine.
I tell you, it's good for
Sangria.
Sangria.
You're right. I wish we had some sparkling water and some fruit juice.
Do you ever make sangria? We make it about once a year. We go brandy, triple sec, ton of fruit,
Yeah.
a little simple syrup.
Yeah, we do brandy and fruit.
You don't do you do sparkling though?
Sometimes we'll put a little bit in there, yeah. Give it a little effervescence.
Oh, I hate that band.
Oh yeah, that band was insane.
You used to manage bands.
I did.
How many years did you do that?
10.
You like travel around the world managing musicians?
I did.
What's up with that? Do anybody know any of those bands? Like any are they names people would know?
Oh, I don't know. Just depends if you liked heavy metal.
The Rolling Stones. No.
No, it was just a bunch of underground metal bands.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, put them in 26 countries.
Did you ever have a lead singer that was a dog?
An actual dog?
Yeah, an actual dog.
No.
No, I wasn't using a pejorative to describe someone. I meant, is there an actual canine barking to the beats?
Yeah, it still smells like vitamins.
Do we need a dump bucket?
I'm gonna go ahead and finish it, but because I don't want to do that to you.
I'm embarrassed.
Here we go.
I kind of partially did
Just
this on
open the hatch.
purpose. Don't, as a sommelier, if you gave this to someone and they struck you in the face, that's all part of it.
No. So is this a go-to for you?
No, I mean we don't really. It's for sangria. Oh man.
Let's move on to the layer cake.
Well, I mean, no. What, are you in a hurry?
No, I'm not. I don't think this is one you want to dwindle on.
I don't, but now I don't even want to drink it. Oh man, this is a mistake. Okay, I'm sorry. Don't mind it. I'm just
What was in the cup?
tobacco spit.
What's in the cup?
I don't do tobacco. Okay. You want to do the layer cake?
I'd love to. Yeah.
Now, layer cake is interesting. They have a weird sort of cross section of wines. They go all over the world, and they'll go anything from like a Primitivo in Italy to this probably primarily Malbec from Mendoza.
Don't they have a South African
I would imagine they do. I think it's called the
layer cake?
Ernie Els. I don't know.
For some reason, I thought that. Oh, I'm thinking chocolate block,
Oh yeah.
because that's
Do you ever read the back in a funny voice of a wine?
no. Well, no, not typically.
You always just read it in your voice.
Or in the best narrator voice that I can do.
Why are your arms crossed? You're uncomfortable?
No, I'm just sitting here trying to be comfortable.
My old grandfather made and enjoyed wine for 80 years. He told me the soil in which the vines lived were a layer cake.
It's a terrible.
He said the wine, if properly made, was like a great layer cake. Fruit, mocha, and chocolate, hints of spice and rich. Always rich. Never pass up a layer cake, he said. I have always loved those words. Mr. Orlando.
You made that up.
No, he literally word for
The
word.
cake that he described is fruit cake.
I don't
People
want that
like fruit
cake.
I don't want that cake either.
Have you ever had a good fruit cake? This is a screw top.
Yeah, I've had a good fruit cake.
Do you like it? Like, do you like? I
I like fruit cake. I do. I like fruit. That's plenty.
Oh,
Yeah, just
jeez.
well, you know.
That's true. We gotta get to the good stuff. Nicole, do you want to try this? Are you through yet? Or
Yeah,
like,
while I'm at it, you know?
yeah. I mean, the Kistler goes down like candy.
She does.
The
I don't think she wants to try this. I'm just kidding.
oh,
Actually smells nice.
I really brought bad wine. I don't know why I did it. I kind of know why I did it.
Yeah, you didn't want to spend any money.
Well, no, I went down to the cellar this morning, and you know, I honestly wasn't in the mood to pick out wine this morning. I'm gonna be honest. All right.
I'm getting earth and toothpaste.
Is that one of the bands you managed?
Earth and toothpaste.
Yeah. What would be one of their songs? Gingivitis. Mother Earth.
Mother Earth. Yeah.
Man. We don't have much time left on our friendship, do we? No.
Man, the residual sugar on this has got to be through the roof.
Yeah, it's really a weird wine.
It is weird.
It's a really weird wine.
I mean, there's a lot of sugar in this.
So, you know, a serious question-ish. People want to know the difference between like cheap wine and good wine. And they always wonder, well, can you tell the difference? I think more than ever today with what we're doing, it's a huge difference.
Sure.
Is it they're poorly made, or are the raw ingredients poor?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. If you look at mass-produced wine, you know, it's coming from vineyards where the yields are through the roof. Mm-hmm. And so when you have a high yield, then typically the flavor in the grape is diluted. And if those vineyards are in places where those grapes aren't really all that stressed, and there's lots of water and all that kind of stuff, then you're going to get lots of juice, which also is going to dilute. And then if they're going to, you know, make tons of this stuff, then typically if there's going to be any oaking on it, they're going to use wood chips.
Okay, so instead of barreling it, they're just in tanks and they're thrown in wood chips.
Wood chips. And then typically, especially with American wines that are mass produced, they're trying to, you know, hit the American palate, right?
Yeah.
And so when you think about Americans, I mean, we've got to be one of the largest consumers of soda in the world.
Yeah, I'm not a big soda guy, but I know what you mean.
Neither am I. So
Our president likes soda.
lots of sugar.
Yeah.
People in America like things that are sweet,
Sure.
and so typically these wines, if they're not fermented all the way to complete dryness, they're definitely being, if they are fermented all the way to complete dryness, they're definitely getting some sugar added back in.
Yeah.
You look at like wines, like for instance, like Apothic Red or things like that, where you can see
Yeah.
the Target and everywhere. I mean, the residual sugar in that is extremely high, and you wouldn't necessarily know it because they're also acidifying at the same time, and they're doing all these different tricks to try and mask the sweetness of it. But at the same time, people are drinking it, and they're just like, "Oh, this is good."
Well,
So,
there's a ton of, I would assume, a lot of wood chips added to like Apothic Red.
well, I would imagine anything that's oaked
Yeah.
and is mass produced, they're getting lots of wood chips because I mean, those barrels are expensive.
The Kistler tastes handmade.
It does.
I mean, Nicole, can you tell that? I mean, you're not a super big wine person, but can you tell the difference based on what he just said?
Yes, I went from the Flacco to the Kistler, so yes,
So you had the Flacco first, and we had
Yes.
it second.
I did.
It probably wasn't as jarring having it first.
No, it was like okay, this is a
it's
red wine.
wine.
Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
red wine.
Yeah.
Okay, it's red wine.
Do you want to dump into this?
I do actually on this one.
Don't spill. The old dump cup. Dump cup's okay. Let's continue. Okay. Thank you. Let's continue. All right. So now we're going to the Spring Mountain.
Yeah, this hasn't had a lot of time to breathe. Here, let me see your glass.
It's a 2001. So, I mean, ideally 45 minutes to an hour.
Well, it depends.
Oh, that's a
On the
nice,
wine.
healthy pour. I appreciate that. Oh,
A little bit of cork in there.
that's all right. Holy Moses. So much menthol, some eucalyptus, a little black olive on that. All good things for Cabernet for me. It smells uniquely American.
Yeah, and it's not super basementy.
And
You
what basementy? I don't
Well,
know what
you know
that
what I mean?
means.
So-
Like someone's going to jump out and kill you.
Right, yeah. No, it's got sort of that mustiness that can come with it, just from laying down on its side in a cellar.
Yeah.
You get must and mold and those kinds of things. Sometimes you can get some of that in an older wine. And this is 16 years old. So it's not super old, but I mean, definitely old. And what's kind of amazing, if you look at this wine, I mean, there's still really good concentration in the color in this wine. I mean, it hasn't really...
I'd like to point out I did not make a Roy Moore joke when you said that. I just want that noted.
Yeah, I mean, I get the menthol too.
Just move past that.
I am as quickly as possible.
So the cork, when you pulled the cork out, the cork was just devastated. What's up with that? Just stored in the wrong humidity levels?
No, it's just an old cork.
Yeah.
I mean,
How
it's
is it, by the
organic.
way? You just
It's
took the
really
first
good.
sip.
It's great.
You'd open?
No, I think it's great. That's the thing about older wines is that, I think a common misconception is that if it's old, you need to let it breathe for a long time. So all breathing does is expose wine to oxygen.
Okay.
So an older wine that's been sitting in a cork, which is not, a hermetic seal unless it's been covered in wax.
Right.
It's been getting little trace amounts of oxygen through that cork for however long it's been laying down.
And that's how it's designed. That's the point of the cork.
Exactly. And so
The
it is.
outgassing.
So technically, I mean, it is breathing at a very slow rate, as that wine is aging.
We didn't look at it. Had any of it been ghosted? Like sort of.
This one, I don't know. There was not any sediment that had settled out on the side of the bottle, which is kind of crazy because I bought about 15 of these.
Okay.
And some of them for sure had sediment on the sides, and I had to pour them very carefully. And this one, though, however, is actually done very well with the drive up here and then standing it up. And
Is a half bottle is considered a split? Is that correct?
it's like 2 glasses,
Yeah.
2 healthy glasses.
What would a full bottle of this cost? If we're doing price points.
Full bottle of this now would probably be in that $110 to $115 range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At purchase, like maybe 2003 when you buy a 2001, probably
here's the
$50.
thing. Well, here's the thing about Spring Mountain. Excuse me. Yes, it would have been $50 or cheaper. Their prices didn't really start to go up until about like the 2011 vintage.
Okay.
And then you started seeing their prices go from $50 to 60, 70, 80, and they're almost like 90, 9,500 now. But they've got a couple other higher end bottles as well that are even more expensive. But I got in on a sale. They actually.
You should just have your
there's
phone
my
on. You need to take you need to take that call.
Well, here's the thing. My phone actually will not go in silent anymore.
You know who says that? People who don't know how to work their phones.
I'm going to turn this into Do Not Disturb.
No, I think that's good. I mean, we're broadcasting
Hold on
to
a
millions
second.
of
Hold on
people.
a second.
Tell Carrie I said hello. Nicole, are you to a point where you either want to dump what you have and get to this?
Yes, you didn't pour me very much, so I'm just gonna come and get some.
Okay, that means it's so hard working here that she just shot it. Oh, you're gonna love it. Do you like cabs, Nicole? Yeah. Okay. There we go. Coming in. I have this certified sommelier for you. Oh, look, he's got little shakes, but they'll go out if he drinks a little bit more. There you go. Excellent.
Look at me.
Thank you. You know you're going to be on camera today?
Here you go.
You are now. Oh,
Let's
gracias.
go ahead and just polish this back.
What? So I'm a big holiday wine gifter. I believe gifting someone a bottle of wine, especially if the person loves wine or appreciates wine, it's just a really great gift.
I agree.
What's your go-to sort of gifting strategy? You try to know the person. I think large format bottles are a really fun idea. A Magnum or something like that can be fun.
Well, I think it depends on the person. So if somebody is a real wine fan, I actually try to not buy them wine. Simply because,
You don't know what they like? Is that the problem?
well, if I don't know what they like or,
Wait, if someone likes wine, you don't buy them wine. What do you mean? Cheetos? Because you don't know if they like them?
well, for instance, like my brother-in-law,
Sure.
likes good wine. I'm not going to go out and spend $175 on a nice bottle of wine for Christmas because we just don't spend that much money on Christmas presents.
Okay, so what you're saying, if you know someone that really likes wine, instead of getting them like a $35 bottle of wine, which he really likes wine, but maybe at $35 you can't get as much bang for your buck as you would for $35 for something else.
For the style of wine that he likes, yeah. I mean, he's a big fan of old Italian Barolos and Barbarescos and things like that. So I mean, you're gonna they get spendy fast, just like Napa cabs.
Yeah.
Good Napa cabs.
Do you ever open a large format? I don't think I've ever been with you somewhere and we've opened a large format bottle.
I don't typically, and they are starting to pile up in my cellar.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of large format?
Yes.
We have a, what's the big one? Jeroboam?
Jeroboam.
We have a Jeroboam of Super Tuscan that I'm waiting for the right opportunity to pour.
That you got from Trader Joe's for $11.
No, I didn't. I got it from Costco last Christmas for, I don't know, $60, $50. I mean, it's not going to be great wine, but it's sort of fun. I think the large format bottles, the Magnums or Nebuchadnezzar's one.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest, right?
Yeah.
Nebuchadnezzar.
That's fun. I don't know. What else do you like to give? You like to give champagne's a good gift. I think champagne, when someone has a career thing going on.
Yeah. I think champagne is a good gift to give because there are some really good champagnes at that $50 price point. Grower champagnes. Yeah. One that we've had a lot of this year is Nomine Renard.
Yeah.
Just their Blanc de Blanc Brut. It's just, I mean, that is a great. I would put that champagne up side by side with Veuve.
Yeah.
And and it would win. All day long.
I like Veuve. Especially what's their high end one?
Their Tete Cuvée.
Yeah.
It's La Grande Dame.
Yeah. I like that better than Dom, which I've had the opportunity to have before. I think Dom, in my opinion, is overrated.
Yeah, I mean, Dom's
just a
fine.
name.
Cristal's fine.
I've never had Cristal, but I've had Dom.
I think that there's just some really good champagnes out there. It's kind of crazy the amount of champagnes there really are, and the amount that are just awesome.
It really, like you said, anywhere from like $30 to $50 to some interesting stuff.
But yeah, so I mean, back to your original question though. I mean, I do like to give wine as gifts. I have more fun giving wine as a gift to somebody that isn't as serious about wine. Somebody that's like, they drink wine on a regular basis. But you throw a $50 bottle of wine on their lap and they're going to drink it and they're like, yo, this wine is amazing.
Yeah.
Right. So that's when I like giving a
interesting.
Good bottle
a regular wine drinker who typically doesn't push the high end, that's a more impactful bottle. Where if someone who really likes wine, to give them a $30 bottle is a nice gesture. it's probably fine.
Right.
But it's not as sort of an impressive.
That's the bottle they're going to break out when they have people coming over that don't necessarily appreciate good wine.
Interesting. Or they'll grab at the very back of the cellar out of the sangria box.
Right. Right.
Man, I really owe you after this. I feel really
Just tell
inadequate.
tell Paul Ashley that I brought you in on the.
What's he going to
Spring
bring
Mountain.
me Friday? Nicole, how you feeling about the Spring Mountain?
I really like this.
I want to eat a steak with some sauteed mushrooms with this
Yeah.
all day.
I want to smoke my pipe and drink this. I mean, this is
You smoke a pipe?
from time to time.
Have you heard about the tobacco?
I like the tobacco.
It'll kill you.
Here's the thing about this, is that it's, this is a Napa cab before Napa cabs really started going super insane.
Well, in 01, absolutely.
Not necessarily like a lights out vintage, but it's a great wine. The tannins have really mellowed. The flavors have melded. It's very smooth.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, it's easy to drink. I don't need food with this wine.
Yeah. Totally agree with that. I actually feel like on some level, once you get above even the $50 price point, you can get to a point where you don't need food to make the wine better.
Absolutely.
But there is that space, 20 to 50, where the wine's fine, it's good, but food helps it a lot.
Well, I think sometimes you get a grippy wine, like a wine that's got the tannins that are so young and so in your face that you drink it, it almost feels like it takes all the moisture out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Something like that's going to go great with a hard cheese, a fatty steak, something where that that fat can just really just cut the tannin and kind of smooth out that experience.
Yeah.
And I like that. It doesn't mean it's a bad wine at all. Like a good Barolo, even with age on it, it's still going to have big tannins. In fact, the tannins are going to help it age. But this is this wine here definitely doesn't have that tannin anymore, and doesn't require the food to kind of make it more of an enjoyable experience.
A friend of mine that lives in New York, last time I was there, and we had dinner, and we had an 07 Barolo. Frankly, could have used another 10 years. You know what I mean? It was still a lot of grippiness, if you will.
Yeah. They say 15 to 20 years is about where you want to be when you start popping good Barolos.
Yeah.
I had a monster Barolo on Friday. My wife and I were celebrating our anniversary.
Yeah.
And we had Soretto, and it was a 12. And it was their Brunate.
That seems a little soon.
Yeah, so we popped it. We let it breathe for 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And then we drank on it, and it was still very much too young to be drinking it. But it was a tremendous wine.
Yeah.
It was just elegant. And so that's one that's going in the cellar.
So other wine gifts for wine lovers. Maybe don't get them wine, but you've turned me on to something, the Coravin. Interesting concept. So I've gotten to this point where we sort of drink less wine now because of just trying to make good health decisions on a regular basis. And so if I open a bottle of wine, I always feel like I got to finish that bottle of wine in a couple days or I wasted it. The Coravin prevents that.
Yeah, it's a great tool.
So what is it?
So basically the way that works is it's a device that goes on the top of the bottle. There's a needle that goes through the cork, and then it uses argon, which basically pushes the wine out. So just pushes gas into the bottle. Argon doesn't dissolve into liquids, and so it creates pressure, which then forces the wine up out through the needle and out through the pour spout. So as long as your cork isn't crap, it should reseal, and that bottle should last for 6 months to another year. But I mean, really, the whole idea is take a nice bottle. If you've got a $100 bottle and you don't want to race through this thing, you only want to have a glass of it, or
Taste some now, let it age. Taste some later.
well, and just kind of keep going. Or it's like it's a Friday night. You're like, man, I'd really like to have this nickel and nickel, cab, and I'd also like to have this, whatever. You could pour a glass of that and then pull it out and then go to the other one, pour another one. You could have mix and match some wines out of the cellar, and you have to worry about them degrading. Now, I think the jury is still out on how long a wine will last,
But a couple months, easy.
Couple of months, easy, yeah. And so I think that if you're the type of wine drinker that can justify the purchase of a Coravin,
Yeah.
then you don't necessarily have to worry about that bottle of wine sitting so long that it just oxidizes and dies.
So reading a little bit Coravin, I mean, they go anywhere from a couple $100 for one of these systems to like $800.
Yeah,
That seems a little much.
Yeah, I mean the big difference is just the accessories. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's just the same device.
Yeah.
Their entry level device has different materials in it. It's made maybe a little bit more cheaply, but then the system that I always suggest to people is their Model 2. Yeah, the Model 2. It's just a good looking system. It works well. It's not too heavy.
Great gift for a wine drinker. But again, you're spending a couple $100, $250 or $300 depending on where you get it.
Yeah, that's something you're doing if you need to expense something.
Exactly.
Right.
So the interesting thing about that Coravin system, it puts the argon into it has little capsules that sort of pressurize. But I read you can get like 15 pours of wine out of one capsule.
You can get a little more than that.
Okay.
Yeah. If you use it aggressively,
How does one use a wine pouring system aggressively?
throwing it around. No, like a restaurant that's doing high-end by-the-glass pours.
Okay.
It wouldn't make sense for them to use the capsules. It would make sense for them to actually invest in the adapter.
Yeah.
The Coravin doesn't sell that just hooks a hose up to the device into an argon tank.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for the total cost of that system,
Yeah.
be about $300, $400. But you probably would get several thousand pours out of something like that.
So, if you go to like one of those wine tasting boards, like Tastings is one. If you happen to be in central Indiana, it's down attached to the Conrad. Or those bars where it's a single pour and you can test their systems. You put a card in. That's a version, if not a Coravin, a lot of times,
I
right?
don't know how they push because sometimes those bottles are just stored in those systems upside down.
Really? I've
so-
never seen that.
yeah, and
I always
so
see
it's
them upright with just like a.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's argon.
Well, that
Because-
super high end stuff, like some of them are like pouring crazy wine. It's like $100 for 4 ounces or something,
Right.
which I don't
Well,
get those.
another thing that's happening is they're kegging wine.
Yeah.
So some restaurants are doing by the glass
Draft wine,
on
right?
certain types of wines.
Yeah.
They do such a high volume of that it doesn't make sense to bottle them because they're just churning through them. So again, it's an argon system, works just like beer. Keg goes into refrigerated storage and then they push it out.
I wish we were by a fire, Netflix and chill, you and me, enjoying this wine. What would we be watching? What do you want to watch together? A Flashdance? What do you want to watch?
No, It's a Wonderful Life.
I'm hot and cold about that movie. Nicole, have you seen It's a Wonderful Life?
I have.
What are your thoughts? I mean,
I wasn't say hot and cold. Mine
Yeah.
would be White Christmas, but
oh yeah,
I'm
Sure, racially charged. I understand.
yeah. So funny, so good. I don't know. I love terrible action movies. That's my dirty little secret.
Is Die Hard your Christmas movie of choice?
Pardon me. I said terrible action movies, not amazing action movies. And I do like that movie. No, but I like terrible action movies. I like anything with Nicolas Cage or Jason Statham that's on Netflix straight to video that has 2 stars or less
Okay.
all day long. And I just sit there and I judge them.
I like Nicolas Cage.
I love the National Treasure movies, and I'm embarrassed to admit
I
that.
think those are terrible. I think his magnum opus was
Raising
Lord
Arizona?
of War.
What was it?
Lord of War.
I've definitely seen that. Raising Arizona was his best movie, but
that's
it's a
pretty good.
comedy.
I need to rewatch it. It's been a while.
What? It's really good.
Family Man was good, and The Weatherman was even better.
Family Man was weird. It was so cheesy.
It was so Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want a family. I want a family.
want a family. Weatherman was great.
You really bought into this Nick Cage thing.
I like Nick Cage.
Do you have a tattoo of him on the small of your back?
I don't, but I do on my inner thigh.
Yeah. Does it say Nick Coppola? Because he's part of that family,
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he's
So
related to
he's
Francis
responsible
Ford.
for terrible wine.
Wow, that escalated. There was a time that I was really into the Coppola wine, probably mid 2000s, like 2004, 2005. I like the director's cut. I like the Claret.
Yep.
That's sort of where I went from Black Opal Chardonnay to Buck Chuck. I sort of regressed.
Yep. Yep.
Then I made my way into,
Talking about sangria.
dude, you got to start somewhere. And then I made my way to that. And then I got into some like J. Lore, some of the Paso Robles stuff. And I don't know. Do you remember the first good bottle of wine you ever had? Like you're like, okay, this is different. Really think about it hard and take plenty of time.
Just let's fill some tape here.
We don't use tape.
Oh, I thought you were hip.
This is reel to reel.
Okay.
The seating here, like the proportions of our body. You look like you should be in a circus.
That's just because of the sweater.
No, it's not. It's your body. I look shorter.
That's because you are shorter.
How tall are you?
6'2".
Are you?
Yeah.
I guess we've never gone face to face. I'm not 6'2".
That's weird.
I'm 5'9". How tall is Tom Cruise?
I don't know. 4'8".
Hey Siri. How tall is Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise is 5 feet 7 inches tall.
Oh my gosh, I would punch him right over the top of his head and miss.
Yeah, he's small.
There's nothing wrong with smaller
So what
people.
do you think his best performance was?
I hated Vanilla Sky, although a girl I dated in high school, who is now an actress out in the Hollywood, was in that film. And I saw in the film, I was like, oh, there she is. That's good to see her. And then at the end of the movie, I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. I saw something with him the other day, and I kind of liked it. The second Jack Reacher film.
Oh, haven't seen it. So
Yeah.
I think the best movie that he
Yeah,
was in,
yeah.
Magnolia.
It was good. Did you ever see the high school, when he was a high school football player, All the Right Moves?
No.
That was a good movie.
What was the other one? Cocktail?
Cocktail was okay.
Yeah.
I like the Mission Impossible movies because crappy action movies. Loved them.
Yeah.
Sure, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars to make them, but they're still in the genre of crappy.
I like anything that magnifies his love for Scientology.
I think so. You ever see Eyes Wide Shut?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
I've never seen it. I felt weird attempting to watch it. I didn't watch it, but that's why I didn't attempt.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm lying, but I'm not. I saw Keith Urban, speaking of Nicole Kidman, in a concert at the Sydney Opera House.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What were you doing in Sydney?
I was there when I was in the financial services world. I was on a rewards trip, and we went to dinner at the Opera House, and then outside the lobby, and then they're like, okay, go into the Opera House, and we went inside, and they're like, and now a special concert, and everyone's just sort of looking at each other, just like, good eye. And the curtain goes up, and it's Keith Urban, and I don't care, because I'm not into that sort of music, but it was still cool, and you could tell he was a good performer, and,
Right,
and
yeah.
like, some people were excited. They were yelling like "Roll Tide," and I was like, I don't know how that applies.
Yeah, that's
But
weird.
they were having a good time.
That's awesome.
So I'm not a concert guy, which is weird because you're a big music guy. I don't like concerts.
I like some concerts, maybe more out of nostalgia these days.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to enjoy it.
You're a
because
dad now.
I tend to do the math, when I go to one.
Well, what's the math?
Well, just total up what the ticket sales are and how much the
Oh,
merch
yeah.
is going and
Oh my gosh,
like all that kind of stuff. And I
What
try
a
to figure out
bore.
What that person.
your
yeah.
wife has to hate that because then you like want to talk about it with her, and she's
Well-
like, Mark.
She only likes going to concerts if it's country, so
So she would like Keith Urban.
she would love Keith Urban.
Should I tell her this story? Will it impress her?
She might find you interesting for the time of that story. Yeah.
And that time alone.
Period.
I don't like concerts because there's a bunch of people there. I don't like crowds and traffic and parking. Those are sort of my kryptonite.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I'm with you on that.
But I love the Indy 500, which go figure. It's like the ultimate in traffic, parking, and crowds, but it's the only thing I like.
Well, that's because it's BYOB.
It totally is. When you go to the race, I assume, from time to time.
We only go if we're in a suite. Sounds snobby,
Bougie.
but let's just be honest. It kind of stinks being out in that hot sun for 9 hours.
Why don't you bring up bougie lay? Because that is bougie.
Well,
I will one up you here. I only like to go to professional basketball or football games if I'm in a suite, but I will go sit amongst the crowd at the Indianapolis 500.
Well, that's great, but it's the 500. You know,
It's a
it's a long.
well said. Well said. It is the 500.
It is a long, hot, sweaty.
So if you go, are you drinking like cheap beer or are you taking like some craft beer in a can? What do you
And
do?
I'm squirreling away Coors Light. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. You got to stay hydrated. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Not. Yeah. Is that your favorite? So there's college cheap beer, and then there's sort of mainstream cheap beer. What's your favorite college cheap beer? As a sommelier, certified. Where's your pen?
Man, bust that out for you. Favorite cheap beer? Well, my go-to is Coors Banquet.
That's a good cheap beer. I
It's a
love
great
Coors
cheap beer.
Banquet.
I also
Have you ever had one in Golden, Colorado?
I haven't, but I also love Grain Belt.
I just note from this camera angle, I have been working out a lot, Nicole, as you know. The chin looks not where it needs to be at this angle.
What do you?
I look
what
like
do
a
you do?
drawing of a bad drawing
Wait, oh my god.
of a middle-aged man.
No, but have you seen? It's like those rollers that you can get.
can roll your
and You're
neck?
supposed to roll it, and it gets rid of like the double chin, or
I'll never do that.
it's like a jade roller.
Will it work on my ab?
I bet we could get one on Amazon.
I'm so
Prime.
glad you went with the B sound there. Because at first, will it work on my ab?
But
Coors Banquet beer is the sort of your go-to.
That's me, that's the
What do you like
creme
on
de
the
la
low end?
on the extremely low
Yeah,
end,
like Natty, Bush, Keystone.
I tell you what, man, Bush
Yeah.
heavy
Yeah,
is
really.
good.
I was Natty Light. Keystone Light occasionally because it's in the Coors family.
Well, if it was, if we're talking college, I mean Ice House. You got an extra
Red
half,
Dog.
You got an extra 0.5% of booze.
Ice House was brutal. Brutal. Does it still exist?
It does, yeah.
Does Red Dog still exist?
I think in Canada,
Was it Canadian?
that's the first time I saw it. I remember fishing trips with my dad. We'd stop at the beer store and he'd get a couple 30s of Red Dog.
Oh my gosh.
For dad.
Did you never got to try it?
Nope.
Do you remember the first time your dad let you taste beer?
I was 6.
And I don't remember how old I was. We were at Papa John's over on not Papa John's, Papa Joe's. Did you ever go there on Lafayette Road? You didn't grow up in Indy.
Oh yeah.
You did?
Uh-huh.
Remember on Lafayette Road, probably 35th, 34th, 30th in Lafayette Road.
Never went that far south.
And my dad let me try like a Bud Light or something. And I had to have been 6 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
I tasted it and you were like, they're drinking this, they're enjoying it. It must taste like vacations.
Yeah.
And you taste it and you're like, what is wrong with you, man?
Yeah.
You probably liked it.
I loved it.
Did you have a goatee then? Did you look like a youth pastor in 6th grade too?
I did. Yeah. When I was 6 years old.
What do you look like without that?
I mean,
10.
awesome.
I doubt it. You probably look like 7 years old.
No, I look pretty old and decrepit. No, I look really young.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Should shave it just so we can judge you.
Well, I mean, I shave it about every 4 months.
Off?
Yeah.
Really? I'm trying to think if I've seen you without it. I don't think about you a lot though.
Exactly.
I've kept mine pretty trim the other day. These days, it used to be longer, but it's weird. It gets real gingery and wiry. Look like Mario Batali
So-
without the ponytail and the lawsuits.
You want to know a statement that not a lot of people ever say?
Of course I do.
Could I have some more layer cake? No, I really don't.
Oh, you want some more Flacco?
Nope.
How was this for you,
Well, it's about to get a little bit better.
Nicole? How long has this show been?
We're at 4903.
Oh, that's a good time. I got a voicemail from my father-in-law.
I got stuff I got to do, but right now I don't really care about doing it.
You want to call my father-in-law back?
Can we do it on the air?
No. There wine. Have you ever tried Romane Conti? I know that Kistler's good.
Kistler's good, man.
Oh, we didn't give Peters to the wine. Kistler's 4.2 out of 5 for you. Look, I'll give it 4.5. I mean, that's delicious. I love
delicious.
Pinot. I like a little earthier Pinot. I like a little funkier. That's why I like Santa Rita Hills area. The Tempranillo, the Joe Flacco, not elite. Did it register a full Peter?
I'm going to give it a full Peter,
Yeah.
but that's about it.
Yeah.
And same thing with the layer
Flaccid
cake.
Peter. Layer cake. Layer cake was just.
They both get ones.
It was almost worse.
I mean,
Did you do the layer cake, Nicole?
I did.
What do you think about that?
You know, it was different.
That's what people try to say nice things, but they don't mean it.
I think if you gave the layer cake to somebody as a gift, it would be synonymous with wiping a bloody booger on them.
It is graphic. We get to put a warning in this show now.
I think so. What
Trying to
else
keep
did
it
he say?
clean.
What did he say earlier?
What? Are you
not
keeping
kill.
notes? Oh, slaughter.
Slaughter.
Slaughter. Yeah.
Graphic man.
Just honest.
The Spring Mountain.
That's a bad mamma jamma, huh?
I know. I gotta go a full 5 Peters. I'm talking Jackson 5. Like,
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I can get down on that.
yeah, little Backstreet Boys.
I mean, I'd say 4.8 because I like margin.
It's great. I wouldn't give it 100 points if we're going on this with a traditional scale.
Okay, yeah.
Let's go. Let's go there.
As far
I
as
would
like
give
a
it
great wine.
96 points is what I would give it.
Yeah, I'd give that a 96.
I would give this 93.
I'd give it a 92, 91.
This would be both well below 80. I mean, these would be in the 72 range.
I would say, yeah, 78, 79.
But once in sangria, once so you can't taste it, it is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, basically when you're just looking for you're on a scavenger hunt for the alcohol.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're doing there.
Can people get your bacon online yet, or is it still like hand delivered?
They can get it online.
But can it be shipped? Do you ship your bacon?
I don't because it's just I don't want to.
Seems lazy.
No, it's not. It just requires a little effort.
Your bacon's good.
Thank
You made some weird stuff recently. What did you make? Like some experimental stuff. What were you making?
I just made some. You mean on the bacon side?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just made some gochujang bacon.
I don't know what those words are.
Oh.
Is that the ghost pepper?
No, gochujang is it's basically a fermented rice paste with chili pepper. It's Korean.
Ooh.
Really, really good.
That sounds delicious.
It's amazing.
Do you go thick cut? I mean, how thick are
yeah,
you going?
Yeah, super thick.
Yeah. Like a bowl of oatmeal. Thick.
Thick.
2 C's. Thick.
I go with the Q.
Really?
Yeah, thick.
I don't like that.
Okay.
Um,
Got some summer sausage that we made, and some pate,
I like pate.
chicken liver mousse
we had a
with Old Major
dinner party the other night with some friends at Stella. If you happen to be in the Indianapolis area, went to Stella. You ever been to Stella?
I haven't yet. I need to go.
They have some smoking goose, pig and fig terrine, which is delicious. Yeah. Good guy. It's the smoking goose fellas.
I love Chris.
Chris Elliott is a great man.
He and I go deer hunting. Well, we've been deer hunting once. It was fun.
Did you take any deer?
I was not lucky enough to harvest. I was close. It was bow hunting. I was in full draw. Another hunter came in, spooked the deer right before I could get her done.
I'd like to address a situation, what I would consider to be close to an invite that you extended to me, with a week left of notice, in the busiest time of my year. You said, Pete, why don't you come up and go salmon fishing with me, with a chef friend of ours? And what we'll do is, Pete, I will take a 75-day dry-aged prime rib, or ribeye, what was it? It
was ribeye.
Yeah. And our chef friend will prepare sushi from the salmon we catch that day. Why don't you come up and do that? And you gave me like a week's notice. And I feel as excited as I was, and I was like, man, this is the best day of my life. It really wasn't, because there was no chance I could have pulled that together. And
It was a last-minute trip.
I don't know, it didn't feel last minute. I mean, it seems like it was at least 75 days in the planning.
No, it wasn't. I had that beef just aging just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
But I'll tell you this. Give me some notice next time, and I'm there.
All right.
Have you ever done the catch the fish and then like have sushi off of it like that?
I haven't, and I've heard that you want to be careful doing that with freshwater fish,
Oh.
more so than you do with ocean caught.
But isn't most salmon freshwater?
Well, you've got Atlantic salmon.
Which is saltwater. But then like the farm raised is all, but you don't do farm raised sushi.
No,
What's the salmon you're going to have at a Japanese restaurant?
it's just going to be Atlantic salmon, probably.
I hadn't thought through this. So wait, you're going to take me up there on an unbite and kill me?
No, we're just gonna try and get a parasite in you.
Yeah. How was the steak?
Dynamite.
You didn't catch any fish.
We ended up getting rained out
Can you imagine if I would have rearranged like travel plans and come up there and,
and
get
got
rained out?
rained out.
But what do you drink? All of it. What do you have?
What did we have? We had some good stuff.
Well, I assume you did.
We had some Coors.
Yeah. So that steak, how was it a big one or did you cut steaks?
Oh, we cut steaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
2 inchers.
We aged a primal,
Oh boy.
and then I cut them, and they were 2-inch thick.
How many people?
3 of us.
Oh man, I was not one of them.
Nope. And they were dynamite.
You know what though? I believe that was when our friend Paul Ashley and I were in Boulder together eating at Frasca.
That's right.
So that actually worked out better because it's one of the best restaurants in the world. And you made the steaks.
Okay. Well, this has been fun.
So if people want to find your expertise as a certified sommelier, would they want to do that?
I think they would.
Oldmajor.com, is that your site?
Oldmajormarket.com.
Couldn't get the oldmajor.com.
No.
It sounds like it could be like a really freaky site, oldmajor.com.
Yeah, the Old Major.
Yeah, here's some pics. Oldmajormarket.com. Nicole, can you believe that you're part of this?
I feel so fortunate.
No, I didn't think you were going that way. You were like, why is this my job?
So you want to go hit the Greek's Pizza?
I don't eat that stuff anymore.
Okay, cool. I will be. The
I've
one
worked
person.
out, Nicole, what is it, 37
I
days
saw
in a
the
row?
picture on Instagram.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's not exercise unless you post it. This has been our show. I'm your host, Peter Dunn. This is my guest, Mark the Fay. This has been your Christmas Wine Spectacular. You've learned about several wines. Leave My Pig Alone. The Tempranillo, the Layer Cake, Leave Its Tail Alone. The Kistler, and the Spring Mountain. Don't buy these unless you're making sangria or you hate people. The Kistler probably cost you $80 probably for buying a store. Really good. The Spring Mountain,
Not gonna find
you're
it.
not going to find it, and it is delicious. I really, that would be amazing with any fine cut of meat.
Anything.
It would be good with,
Moccasins and a fire.
sure. Thank you, Mark the Fay.
You're welcome, Pete.
This was
Planner.
pleasure for literally no one. Literally no one. Thanks for joining us. The show is over.
Fire. Low down and filthy, but the discipline is on point. Schooled myself, made my own dojo.
You know, being a millionaire is important. If you want to have a good financial life, you'd be silly not to set a goal to be a millionaire. Sure, resourcefulness is a great goal, but how do you measure it? If you're doing what you should do, you should be a millionaire. But being a millionaire is different than you think. Some people think it's like this. Being a millionaire is about enjoying life all the time. Look, I've seen Cribs, I've seen The Great Gatsby. I know what it means to spend money as you want in the moment. That's what it is to be a millionaire. Well, others think it's like this. I know what it takes to be a millionaire, saving every penny you make. In fact, I eat on 13 cents a day. I can make ramen noodles every way you can imagine. I sleep in my car on vacation, and I go into fast food restaurants just to steal the condiments because I like fast food restaurant retirement soup. That's how you become a millionaire. It's neither of these things. And it's not a get-rich-quick scheme either. If you have at least $50,000 a year of income, I'll show you how to turn it into $1 million by understanding housing, investing, and how your income flows. Not only that, but I will tell you when you'll have your $1 million. So start your $1 million plan today.
Every day living through the peace of my soul, I remain whole even in the middle of the pain. Even though my life has the rain, I still remain sane, writing and creating for my life. And my pen is my sword given by the Lord, and I use it to fight the tides of restriction. Sometimes I'm conflicted.